It's now time for The Sit Down with Don Tony.
The Sit Down, where Don Tony talks one-on-one with his followers.
What are you looking at?
About the world of pro wrestling, pop culture, and so much more.
The Sit Down with Don Tony.
And now, your host, Don Tony.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Sunday. I tell you, it's going to be interesting tomorrow to do Monday Night Raw's review so early. Remember, Monday Night Raw starts at 6 p.m. Eastern instead of 8 p.m. Eastern. So, yeah, we'll be live right after. How's everybody doing? Here in New York, we got a little bit of a break from the 100-degree weather. Today, I think it only went up to like 92. So it is June 29th, 2025. Can't believe we're already in the month of July. Welcome to the Sit Down. We got some interesting stuff to get into. I want to shout out everybody who is live. You might actually see this feed pop up on X. I played around with a couple of settings, and I think this could simulcast on X, although I can't see anybody's comments, but it's all good. It's all good. Shout out to our YouTube family, our channel members, our Patreon family, keeping the DTKC spirit alive. And we just added a whole bunch of episodes of the Mass Maniac show to the vault. So let's get all the plugs out of the way, shall we? So, interesting stuff going on this weekend. The biggest conversation, obviously, is Night of Champions. You know, right before we went live, I saw Dave Meltzer insisting that was a plant. That was a plant that confronted CM Punk about his tweet several years ago towards The Miz and talking about bloody Saudi money. You know, yeah, I look at this picture. And, you know, you see, does that look like rabid, angry Saudis for what CM Punk said? You know, yes, he has not talked about that tweet in 6 years, but I think over the last 6 years, I think people are starting to understand what CM Punk is all about. And to turn around and to insist that somebody front row was a plant is probably almost as bad as, I don't even want to go there tonight. I read this and it's like, is this like National Retarded Broadcast Week? I mean, between Wade Keller, did you see this one with Wade Keller earlier this week? I had people begging me to talk about this. Wade Keller says, quote, I talked about this when he was all the rage in NXT and coming out of TNA. I was like, wrestlers are telling me when he gets to the main roster, no one's going to put up with the fact that he doesn't take back bumps. He's scared to take bumps. He doesn't take flat back bumps. I don't know if he's got an injury or a concern. And then he goes on to say, Mr. Keller, that I know wrestlers who I chat with about things when I want wrestlers' insight on like, oh, right, Wade, you're right when you say Karrion Kross says, isn't it kind of funny that Wade Keller never DM'd Karrion Kross, never asked him, you got an injury? You know, people are telling me that you're a little concerned about back bumps and stuff like that. You know why he never fucking even thought about doing that? Because the minute Karrion Kross says, who told you that? That's not true. First of all, contrary to what you may believe, but the locker rooms are camaraderie, okay? And it is highly unlikely someone who is so well liked and gets along with the roster, especially during the pandemic, is going to turn around and tell some fool online or with these anonymous, yeah, he's afraid to take back bumps. He's afraid to do this. He's afraid to do that. It's just not likely. But you never DM'd him and said, do you have an injury? You know, people said, what's the deal? You know, and if he doesn't respond, Then you do what I always say. We reached out for Karrion Kross for clarification and received no reply. We reached out to so-and-so for clarification and received no response. We attempted to contact so-and-so, but we received no reply. Don't you find that interesting? It's always fucking missing 90% of the time when people put up bullshit. Do you know why they don't do that? You can't be a rocket scientist to figure this out. Because the minute they get the response that it's not true, the story is dead. Not everybody is going to be an absolute schmuck like they did to AJ Styles that time. Never forget it. AJ Styles, we got exclusive that AJ Styles re-signed with the WWE. This was several years ago. And AJ Styles personally contacted the webmaster of some bullshit wrestling news site that broke that story and said, listen, I didn't sign the contract yet. It's not true. And you know what that person said to AJ Styles? Think I'm lying? Just ask AJ. That person said to AJ Styles, we stand by our sources, calling AJ Styles a liar. That's the minute where I'm like, Bafangul. These people are just dicks. They're just dicks. I mean, you know, even if somebody tells you that, Wade, you know, if you want to know the truth for your own self-knowledge, DM the guy and ask him. The idea that Dave Meltzer, not even 12 hours, not even 6 hours after Night of Champions ends, actually, this was before Night of Champions because it was the pre-show, the kickoff party. Oh, it's definitely a plant. Fuck you. Fuck you. You know, have you ever watched these kickoff shows? Have you watched these, how the intimate surroundings, how the wrestlers do, you know, integrate with some of the fans over there? Yeah, this was a legit thing. And I seriously doubt CM Punk would have traveled all the way to Saudi Arabia, made that decision this year. And then, oh no, we're going to make a plant so that question could be asked. It's just ridiculous. It's just moronic. It's stupid. And the best part of it all, the best part of it all, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. You saw the thumbnail for tonight's show. You see some female clown wearing an Oscar shirt, angry at Jade Cargill. Her TV is set on fire. You see Jade Cargill shooting the screen of a couple of angry Saudi fans that are not fans of Jade Cargill right now. And then you see the clown on the right with the Jade Cargill shirt. The clown. Oh, Jade Cargill is getting booed in Saudi Arabia because they don't like black women. Let me tell you something. I know I'm a fat Italian white guy. Anybody that you read on social media that writes that, I don't care if they're black, I don't care if they're white, I don't care if they're female, male, they identify themselves as both. Anybody that says that is the problem. Want a good example? Crown Jewel 2024. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defending the tag titles against it was Jakara Jackson, Lash Legend, Piper Niven, and Chelsea Green. Interesting. All four black women got cheered. The finish, the Doomsday device, got cheered. My knowledge isn't all that great. If you notice, I don't do notes. It all comes from here and here. I had to get a little refresher because I was like, let me go back and look at Bianca Belair when Kairi Sane made that surprise return in Saudi Arabia. And how did the fans treat Bianca Belair then? And I was like, it's a couple of years ago. People are starting to boo Bianca because they feel like she's starting to get the Charlotte run. All right, so let's fast forward. Let's go back a year. Jade Cargill, 1 year less experience. They cheered her. Saudi Arabia, they cheered her. When they won, people were giving them applause. Why did Jade Cargill get booed yesterday and get booed on SmackDown? Do I really need to say it? Do I really have to use just common sense? Do I have to be, it's obvious. Asuka just returned. Asuka is very well liked. She's one of the more popular women on that roster. The fans wanted Asuka to win. This isn't like the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan. Nobody moves. Babyface against babyface. No, people do take sides. If you remember, wasn't it Io Sky that got that crazy babyface pop? Was in Spain? What country was that? Or Puerto Rico, or one of the countries? She was a heel, and she got cheered, overwhelmingly cheered. I'm pretty sure it was Io Sky, if I remember. Someone in the chat will remind me. I'm looking. They're not as well. There's a 6-second delay, so someone will remind me. Puerto Rico. Thank you, Austin Nance. Puerto Rico. Shout out to Austin Nance, Guardian of Chaos, holding down the ship tonight. I mean, they wanted Asuka to win. I wanted Asuka to win. I thought Asuka versus Io Sky at SummerSlam would be a very interesting match. It'd be kind of a fantasy match right now, especially with the increased popularity of Io Sky. I wanted Asuka to win. That's it. There's no controversy. For people that are like, oh, other countries are booing black women because they're racist. Man, there's something wrong with you. There's something seriously wrong with you because it's right in front of your face. You could go to other shows in the same countries not too long ago, and these people were cheered. Did you ever think that creative might be the reason? Do you ever think that might be the reason? The way someone is utilized, the perception that someone's handed something when they come back, that other people are working their fucking asses off, and then they feel somebody comes back and they're just handed that spot. They have earned a spot. I'm not criticizing Jade Cargill right now. I have no criticism whatsoever. Those Saudi fans had every right to cheer who they want to cheer and boo who they want to boo. If it was consistent over the years that they were booing all black women, I would turn around and I'd say, DT, you're better off just keeping quiet about this. But my lying eyes don't deceive me, if that's the right way to say it. There's something wrong with these people. The fact that you have race on your mind whenever someone is not getting the reception or the push they deserve, there's something wrong with you. I mean, I get it. There are some people out there that absolutely do not want to see white, black, straight, gay, male, female, transgender, all treated equally. There's people out there that don't want that, because the day that everybody is looked at equal, the day that you don't see color, you don't see this, you don't see the day that everybody is judged the same, all their agenda is shot. All their agenda is shot. I'm not even talking political here. There are people out there that if you treat people equally, they will insist that you're treating this person this way because they're black. You're treating this person this way because they're gay. You're treating this person this way because of whatever. It's ridiculous. It's asinine. It's stupid. Unfortunately, what I say is not going to change the world. But I absolutely have every right to sit here and speak my mind about it, because this is just ridiculous. When I saw the IWC, this was just not one or two fools out there. This was in droves. I mean, people are making money off of TikTok with these ridiculously horrible videos accusing people. Just think about that. You're accusing a different race, different country, different religion of being racist. Isn't that racist in itself? I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get it. So before we get into your questions, I know a lot of you want my quick thoughts about Night of Champions. Very predictable show in a lot of ways. I thought this was pretty funny. Even the picture of the new Bloodline, if it's even a new Bloodline, the new Bloodline, Bloodline 3.0. It's like NXT 2.0. Now this is Bloodline 3.0. They can't even get the picture perfect. Where's Tangaloa? He's bent down. The motherfucker can't even pose for the picture. Sell your pain, but stand up when you're selling it. Listen, couple of things right off the bat. Tala Tonga was a name that WWE trademarked over a year ago. And if you go back and you look at the news reports a year ago, and we covered it, that the rumors were over a year ago that Tala Tonga was going to be the name for Hikuleo. I've always said I hate the name Hikuleo. When I hear it, I think of that old song Bamboleo. Hikuleo, Hikulea, blah, 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 blah. It sounds like ukulele. You want to sit there. I hate the name. Tala Tonga is fine. I have no problem with the name. But, boy, WWE creatively, I mean, move on. Let this sink in. You get rid of the bloodline idea. What are you going to do with Tala Tonga? What are you going to do with Tangaloa? JC Mateo is great, but he's not fitting in. And you look at Solo Sikoa, I mean, take a shot every time he's lost. I mean, he's lost, 95% of his matches? And you need all these people getting involved in the matches just so he could win a belt? What is this? So somebody could beat him at SummerSlam? Outside of Gunther and Lyra Valkyria, and I don't know how you all feel about John Cena's run as the champion. You know, if you remember a couple of months ago, I put number of clusterfucks remaining, 6. I think we're at 3 right now, so we should have 3 more clusterfucks. You look at some of these other championships, it is god-awful how they're treating champions. Lyra Valkyria is an exception because Lyra got the Intercontinental Championship month or 2, whatever it was, before the United States champion. She had multiple title defenses, and she did a good job. So Lyra Valkyria I will not criticize about. I don't have notes in front of me, but my memory is still good in my 50s, and I think I'm right about this. How many matches, this is the best way I could put it, how many one-on-one matches did Jacob Fatu have defending that championship prior to Solo Sikoa? The answer is 0. How many people did Chelsea Green defeat retaining her United States Championship? Chelsea Green. She beat Meechin. That's it. Zelina Vega. Who did she defeat having her reign? She beat Chelsea Green. She beat Piper Niven. And she beat Alba Fire. That's it. She beat a clique. You look at these title defenses, and it's horrendous how WWE is utilizing these belts. I'm not going to compare it to WCW levels because WCW in 2000 was just, it got to the point that we laughed. We laughed at the title changes, but here it's more like, I've always said over the years, Chris Benoit could get a briefcase right now. And if he cashes it in, he'll get a pop. Because I know I'm exaggerating, but the unexpectedness, the surprise element of a briefcase. Name one person who cashed in a briefcase, successfully or unsuccessfully, got a bad pop. Everybody pops because of the surprise. Oh, look, cash in. Oh, look. Oh, my God, it's happening tonight. Then it happens, and then it's like the next morning. And then you get that feeling similar to like when you pick up a really ugly fatty in a club, but you're drunk. and you think you had an amazing night, and then you wake up the next morning sober and you look over, you're like, ah! Ah! It's the surprise element. Are we now just doing title changes to make people happy for a surprise element? It sure feels that way. Look at the tag team championships on Raw. Nothing against the New Day, but it's like 2 or 3 teams, just in circles, in circles, in circles. Now you have SmackDown being moved to 2 hours. Yeah, we had fun with that story 2 weeks ago. We ripped apart the original story by Meltzer and WrestleVotes with all due respect. We did the whole timeline and realized how wrong they were. But they're back to 2 hours. You don't think some people are going to now be released? Remember what I said about 3 months ago? I'm not going to say the names here. But 3 months ago on a Monday show, I said, do a Google search and go back 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, around that time frame, and look towards the fall, September, October. Look at the names that WWE signed or re-signed. There's going to be some names whose contracts are expiring later on this year. And when you hear my sources tell me that blah, 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 blah has yet to re-sign, tell me on what planet that you have a contract that goes from January 1st to January 1st, and let's say it's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and that unless you re-sign 4, 5, 6 months earlier, it's controversial. If my contract goes to January 1st, if you want to sign me to an extension and you get in touch with me or like, man, we really love it. We want to keep you here for another 3, 4, 5 years. Do you want to negotiate sooner? That's not the norm, but it happens. But if my contract goes to January 1st, they'll usually contact you a month and a half in advance. This is what we want to do. We want to extend it. This is our proposal. And you have time to think about it. Probably 2 months in advance. Because if you decide not to re-sign, in the past, the old school era, you would slowly job out and get other people over, and then you leave. It's not as much anymore. When someone's contract is not going to be renewed, suddenly they're off TV, i.e. Carlito, even R-Truth. R-Truth, he was still a couple of weeks away, whatever it was. So these days, if you don't agree to a renewal, you're just taken off TV and that's it. All right. We're not even going to give the opportunity for you to join. Some people did. Listen, I think probably the most legendary in recent years is Moxley. And Moxley, I think he went out more as a winner towards the end than as a loser. You had other people too that did not re-sign. They weren't taken off TV a month or 2 in advance. But the thing is, if you go back 3 years, 2 years, because not everybody gets a 3-year deal, but that's usually seems to be the norm, you could figure out what names are coming up. And now with SmackDown going back to 2 hours, that's 1/3 of the show. That is no more. You're going into SummerSlam. Then you go into Survivor Series. Yes, I know there's events and PLEs before it. Then you go towards the end of John Cena's run in the WWE. That's 3 huge events coming up in the next 6 months. And now you're cutting that show back by an hour. There's going to be quite a few names that are going to be lost in the shuffle. What are you going to do with them? They're not going to sit in catering. WWE doesn't do that. You're not going to have a plethora more to show up in TNA. It's mostly designated for NXT. So, when you see the way that they are treating a lot of these championships, to me, for a lot of people, it's more about, oh, let's reward this person because they they've earned it, and the IWC is upset at, they're not getting championships. Oh, let's put the belt on that person. We'll keep it for a month or two, and then we'll take it off. It's funny, I didn't see Zelina's father. Oh, I should take that back. Stupid me. I'm just talking about Rikishi. But you look at Jey Uso, you look at Jacob Fatu, you look at other champions that only had a month or two run. Chelsea Green's father. That's my luck. Chelsea Green's father. You know my point. My point is, you don't see people bitching. You don't see family members bitching. This is part of the job. I just think WWE is starting to treat a lot of these titles more about the surprise element, the spectacle, happy moment, instead of someone that you can get behind that should have a nice long run. Jacob Fatu is doing great. And then when you start dissecting, you're like, how many matches has Jacob Fatu had one-on-one without a DQ, without a street fight, without a falls count anywhere, without a fatal four-way, without DQ finishes? And you start adding up and you're like, you see a little pattern here. So creatively, I see a lot of shit with WWE right now. And you see this Bloodline 3.0, and the Judgment Day, in my honest opinion, has run its course. You look at the LWO, I mean, come on. Seriously? Legado, it's more about AAA now than anything else. I mean, they're just riding this. All right, we're going to just give these huge events in different countries, and, the other events will be big PLEs, and that's it. And they're just riding that momentum. They're riding, like I said, people keep saying to me, DT, on Patreon the other day, someone was pointing out to me, you'll find this interesting, that Australia, they're doing Crown Jewel. Front row tickets for Crown Jewel in Australia is $15,000 a piece. I think ringside was like over $1,800 for one ticket. Not even I get to take the chair, I get an autograph from a wrestler and maybe get a hand job somewhere else and a pretzel. The prices are just sick. Guess what, though? There's enough sickos out there, no pun intended, that are willing to pay that price. So when you see them go back to Las Vegas, when they have a hard time selling those tickets, that's when you'll see the tickets start to come down. But as long as you are commanding, I always compare it to the Super Bowl. I always compare it to NBA playoffs. I always compare it to a Taylor Swift concert. You look at the tickets for Taylor Swift. People bitch and complain, but until people stop paying those prices and putting everything on plastic, they'll just keep charging them. WWE is no different. Once they worked the deal with TKO and they did that deal with On Location, that deal with On Location, we talked about that over a year ago. That was the change. Once they went to On Location, that's it. If we're going to offer front row seats, fuck take home the chair. You could have this, and this. You could take a picture in front of the ring. You could take a picture with this person. You could get this, you could get this, you could get this, this, and this. $10,000. Guess what? There are some people out there that will pay it. Once they saw, holy shit, look at all these fucking people looking to pay this. Look at this. That's why you're getting what you're getting. That's why the stock is $180 a share right now. This idea that TKO is looking to dump WWE, Vince McMahon's looking to buy it back. Take note of the profile of the people who report that. You don't see a tie. You don't see a nice profile from Indingo, whatever that is. You don't see like this executive business background. No, you see podcaster and postal clerk, 7-Eleven and Twitch streamer. You don't see like people who are in that field telling you this. Who do you see? people that have to clickbait you so they could get 9 cents in ad revenue. Those are the people that are writing that stuff. And you know what the problem is? You know, here, you want a good example? Just share something really funny, and then we'll get into questions. And we'll talk about my thoughts on Night of Champions too. When I invite you all to please do this. Spend 30 seconds, and I listen. This is ceramic. I'll bash this over my head if I ever do this again. I went on Google, and I said, I want to rewatch the match with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven and Jakara Jackson and Last Legend. I want to see the crowd reaction. I don't want to just see reactions to spots, because people will pop for spots even if they don't like the person. Did a Google search. Do it, then click video. You'll get 350 responses. 200 of them will be my reaction. People don't even write reaction in the title anymore. They'll actually write, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defend at Crown Jewel. And you think, oh, here's the match. And then you click on it. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy here. And I'm reacting to, and I'm like, it's a fucking video. And then you know what the other 150 are? Video games. Video games. When you look at the result, I swear to God, I got confused for a minute. I saw Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, Crown Jewel 2024. And I'm like, wait, which, am I like mixing up the years? And then I click on it. It's a fucking video game. You will see 350 responses. Every single one of them is a reaction or a fucking video game. Not one. The only thing that was on there was a WWE on USA 3-minute video that's on YouTube. That's it. My point is, when I did the history show 6 years ago, it was a lot of work. But if I wanted to find clips and rewatch and listen to what seemed exciting and wasn't, a couple of search terms, boom, right there for me. In the last 6 years, it has turned into a disaster. It turned into a disaster. Now, everywhere you look to try to get an answer, to try to get a video, to try to get this. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy. I'm back. Or, the people that have these weird overreactions. Oh, my God. All right, just very, very quickly, Solo Sikoa winning the United States Championship over Jacob Fatu, interference from the return in Tongaloa, Tala Tonga, formerly Hikuleu. You have JC Mateo. I just hope to God they're not planning on Survivor Series or SummerSlam, like a whole bunch of original Bloodline guys with Jacob Fatu versus these guys. Honestly, the more I see Solo Sikoa's group right now, they belong in NXT. Those motherfuckers in NXT. I'm looking at this. I'm like, I'm tired. This is starting to feel like the NWO faction. It's not even like Kevin Nash and Sting and Scott Hall and Hulk Hogan. Now it's like Vincent and the Booty Man. And I know he was, not Booty Man, but it's like, come on, this is tiresome. This is getting old. It's already old. So now they want Jacob Fatu to chase again. And he's probably going to align with Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is coming back for SummerSlam. I liked Solo Sikoa. I had the opportunity to actually go to Orlando and see him win the North American Championship when he was already brought up to the main roster and he had to surrender it. I was there that night. Solo Sikoa is great, but how they've used him over the, I love his character now. I love the comedy. I love his swagger, his arrogance. The problem is, he hasn't backed it up with wins. That's not his fault. That's creative. So to see Jacob Fatu lose this quickly, I did not like it whatsoever. Sami Zayn, and Karrion Kross. All right, I'm going to just say it like this. I expected Karrion Kross to lose. Sami Zayn is too beloved in Saudi Arabia. There was no way that they were going to have him lose in Saudi Arabia, in my honest opinion. Will Karrion Kross get a win back? Probably. Why did my screen go blank here? Sometimes it gets a little overload here and I got to reload here. I'm sure you guys can still see me. Yes. Oh, shout out to the extra 100 that popped up. Karrion Kross, look, if you tuned into my predictions Monday, I said I expected Karrion Kross to lose. It's Saudi Arabia. But, yes, I probably could get some questions answered if I wanted to. But I am a wrestling fan first and foremost. You know, over the years, even when Kev was still with us, and he's still with us, but he's in spirit, and he's here, and all of you are now my Kev Castles. I mean that sincerely. Over the years, people always say, DT, Kev, why don't you just X the person or DM this person or you talk to this person? Why don't you X it? Because a lot of times, no, we're wrestling fans. We want to be surprised. This is not like, I gotta need to know, I gotta know. My gut feeling is one of two things with Karrion Kross right now. It's either this or this. I've narrowed it down to this. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. He's either going to be leaving later this year, and that's it. Or with the book coming out, with his upcoming appearances and some other things that are happening, that he is going to have a change of heart. And how he acts on social media with the fans and interacts, that will start happening in the buildings. He's going to start listening and hearing the fans, and he's going to realize, and he's going to have a turn. I don't know if anybody will attack him. You know, like, listen, it could be an Acme Insta feud. He could be walking in the back and somebody laughs at him, you know, or just gets in his face or vice versa, and then that leads to a match and the crowd pops for him. This is not a case like, no, I don't see Scarlett giving him a nut job and she stays heel and he turns big. I don't see that. To me, it's one or the other. I hear in my ear Sami Zayn trying to convince Karrion Kross now. Listen to those fans. You're like trying to make Karrion Kross see. But I want to see Sami Zayn turn heel still. You know, WWE fucked it up because I wanted to see Sami Zayn attack Jey Uso and challenge him for the world championship at SummerSlam. Listen, Sami Zayn is winning a world championship, but they want it to be a feel-good moment. They want people to cry. There's going to be oh my God, could you imagine all those YouTube videos, those TikTok videos, Twitter? When Sami Zayn wins the belt, I can't keep my glasses on because I'll break it. You'll see people like, you know, they get, oh my God, they wouldn't even cry that much if they went to a funeral for a loved one. I'm just preparing myself for that. Now my glasses are all got fingerprints, motherfucker. And if I push the wrong way, the lens pops out and we got a major train wreck. That's one or two things going to happen. I think Kross is going to see his errant ways. Doesn't change himself, but kind of and you want a little hint of it too. It's not a big deal, and I don't think much of it. If you look at the last match that he had on Main Event, he did something that he hasn't really done before. He does it at house shows, but he doesn't do it on camera. As he's walking up the rampway, you know, he's getting a pop. He walks up the rampway, and there are some fans that have their hands out or their fist out, and as he's walking by, gives a little fist bump. Yeah, I know somebody's going to say, well, Logan Paul does that too. Logan Paul Logan Paul actually takes it personal, the pop that he gets sometimes. Like, he soaks it in. But I think that's what's going to happen. Do I think Kross is going to leave this year? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know his contract situation. I will not ask him his contract situation. If he wants to tell me, he absolutely will. And remember, when he left TNA, Impact Wrestling, he was going to sue them. I still have all the legal papers and all the letters that he sent them, his attorney sent them. At that time, DTKC was the only people he would trust online. Still have them all. Never revealed the specifics, but I know exactly what Impact Wrestling did. Let's just say this is Karrion Kross's ass. And this is Impact Wrestling. And basically, yeah, they did that. That's what they did. They took the salami. Actually, you know what? The Impact Wrestling tried to take the circumference of this salami and stick it up his ass. So that's what I think is going to happen. One of the two. I hope he stays. But I truly think he will. Because WWE sees how over he is online, and it's now gravitating into the crowd. Give it to the fans and see what happens. You never know. A lot of people try to make me compare it to LA Knight, and I think that's a really bad example. But I understand why people say that. Because you had the Max Dupree and everybody online, fuck Max Dupree, it's LA Knight. And the fans were really pushing for LA Knight. That's a little bit of an extreme example. I think it's on a totally different level, but we will see. The match at Night of Champions was fine, but I expected Sami Zayn to win, and he did win. Did not expect Jacob Fatu to lose. All right. Raquel Rodriguez losing to Rhea Ripley. Personally, I think Raquel Rodriguez needed that victory more than Rhea Ripley did, but they want to have Rhea Ripley have some momentum going into Evolution. Yeah, that event that's happening in a couple of weeks that WWE has really almost said nothing about. Isn't this like 2 weeks now in a row that Nikki Bella was supposed to be on Raw and she wasn't? Isn't this like 3 weeks in a row that all those people, Trish Stratus is going to be on SmackDown this Friday? That was 3 weeks ago. Now, all of a sudden, you'll see the push for Evolution. And I'm going to say something that a lot of people don't like, but there is a track record. There is history. It's just that people refuse to listen. Triple H is not a fan of Evolution. Triple H has said numerous times over the years that everybody is treated the same in the WWE. Should we do an all men's pay-per-view? He's actually said that. He is actually shot after the first Evolution, when people were asking a couple of years ago, will there be a second one? Triple H would shoot that down more than once. He didn't have an epiphany. The guy has been helping the women get to another level for many, many years. Doesn't mean he doesn't want to see women succeed, but he feels the best of the best get the opportunities. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. But they want Rhea Ripley to have some momentum to go into Evolution, and they feel the victory was a good springboard. Raquel Rodriguez on Raw tomorrow will start to warm up to Roxanne Perez, because Roxanne Perez did get involved as we expect, but obviously did not help her win. Match was great. Cool to see the fans chanting, "This is awesome." That table spot on the top rope was scary. People took notice of the referee making sure that it was kept in place. It was a scary spot. All you need to do is just have it tilt just a little bit, and you could have a disaster there. But it was a really good match. I mean, honestly, outside of Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, it might have been. It's probably my second favorite match of the night. Even though I thought Raquel Rodriguez, and by the way, I did see a lot of people saying they felt this was Raquel Rodriguez's best performance since she's been back. I agree. I think, what a lot of people sometimes forget is that it's not just a physical ailment, but it's also mental as well. It does put uncertainty, doubt, which is probably the same thing. And, could this inflame? What if it comes back? I'm in the middle of this. What if this? And you get a little outbreak and you start getting nervous. Oh my God. I think the confidence is there. Ring rust, sure, in the beginning, but yeah, I could say yesterday was probably her best performance being back. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton delivered exactly the way we expected it. I saw a lot of reviews. I don't remember which one wrote it, but I thought this was a great example of it. And this was my problem about Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes from Raw last week. Somebody wrote that Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton were wrestling as if it was a retirement match. The loser retires. And that is so well put because you felt like something huge was on the line. Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, with the exception of the last 5 minutes of their match on Monday, it felt like a match of respect. Two friends feeling each other out. It didn't have that feel of, you're my friend, but there's a bigger pitch here. I got to kick your ass. This delivered big time. Randy Orton don't seem too happy. Could we finally get the Randy Orton heel turn? Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. Randy Orton loves being a heel. So could Randy Orton ultimately turn heel? Does Cody Rhodes beat John Cena at SummerSlam? Does Randy Orton help John Cena win? And could we possibly get Dwayne? Remember the three? We brought that idea up many months ago, as did you as well. Could Randy Orton be that third person? I think it's a little too late for that now, my honest opinion. I think get the belt off of Cena and let Cena just, close out the rest of the year in a very creative, fun way. Don't change your attitude in 1 week. And do not discount the possibility of R-Truth, Ron Killings, The Truth. I like what they did with Aleister Black. I don't know where that goes from here. I enjoyed this match very much. Cody Rhodes wins as expected. Cody Rhodes, John Cena. I guess we could say two, but John Cena has wrestled Cody Rhodes in the past. 7, 8 years ago, whatever it is, maybe more than that. They've wrestled in the past, but we say Cody Cena 2 now since he's been back. So I enjoyed that match very much. That leaves us to Jade Cargill, Asuka. Listen, even if Jade Cargill hit her finisher perfectly yesterday, it still wouldn't have changed the fans' view on this. She looked tremendous. She cosplayed Storm from X-Men. Jade Cargill will be a future superhero in movies. Absolutely. She could be a heel. I know she's going to be like some drug queen in that movie that we talked about on Monday or last Monday. It's kind of like, what did I say it was? It's New Jack City meets, what did I say? It's New Jack City meets something else. I can't remember the other part of it. It was pretty funny too. It was just really, really goofy. But everybody, I think, wanted Asuka to win. Honestly, this was not about race. This was about Asuka just came back from injury. One of the more over wrestlers in that company. Jade Cargill has not done a spectacular job returning, which is totally understandable. She's still got many years to grow, but it just feels like it's being handed to her forced. And I know she had a hard comeback, and I get all that. I'm not dissing Jade Cargill. The match yesterday fell flat. Her winning, I didn't expect. I honestly thought it'd be cool to see Asuka win and challenge Io Sky, but this is more gimmicky than anything else. Jade Cargill looks like a superhero. And yes, for some people, it does take several years before it comes all together. I don't want to compare it to wrestlers like Hogan and others, but you look at Hulk Hogan in 1977, it took 5 years before he finally started to really put it together and find his spots. And listen, and that was very, very limited in the United States with his, and I hate that comparison, but some wrestlers do take 4, 5, 6 years to put it together. So, was it too much too soon? Probably. They had it with Bianca to hide some of, the inexperience, and Bianca would pick up where, Jade needed to leave off. Now they feel it's enough that Jade can go on her own. It takes two to tango in the ring as well. But I don't know. Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill, I almost feel like there's a cash-in coming. I almost feel it turns into a three-way with Naomi. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe Naomi shows up afterwards. But I kind of feel that this is more about Naomi cashing in than Jade Cargill having a championship match at SummerSlam, if that makes sense to anybody out there. But again, listen, we all have our favorites. Wrestling is supposed to break your heart. Wrestling is supposed to break your heart. And unfortunately, in this day and age, when it does break some people's hearts, it's a race thing. It's a woman thing. It's this, it's that. And no, sometimes it just breaks your heart and that's it. Stop trying to find an underlining malicious reason behind it. This was nothing about race. Her being booed out of the building was because the fans wanted Asuka to win. That's it. Plain and simple. The finish was very botched. Yes, they could have tried to set it up again. They didn't. It is what it is. She's the queen of the ring. Cody Rhodes is the king of the ring. It's interesting, 2 years in a row, the woman wears the crown, and the man, no, I look too goofy wearing the crown. I'll just keep it by the waist side. I noticed that 2 years in a row. All right. DTS says I'm avoiding the reality of it. The reality of what? When they cheer for the black woman, it's fine. The minute somebody boos, it's about race. Tell me what the reality is. Tell me what the reality is. That it only affects certain people out. It's ridiculous. How would you like it? Not me, because I see through it. But how would you like it if a whole bunch of people out there start complaining that someone is getting jobbed out and booed because they're a white person? Doesn't that sound even more racist? Just imagine that. Why is so-and-so getting booed? Oh, it's because Charlotte Flair. Why is Charlotte Flair getting booed out of the building? It's because she's white. She's a Karen. People be like, you're a fucking racist. Sometimes it's not about color. But it seems every time somebody's favorite loses and it's somebody of color, it's always race. And yeah, listen, I'm kind of done with Charlotte as well. Charlotte, one of the greatest of all time. Absolutely been a fan with her his whole career. But now it's about more giving back a little bit. I think Charlotte at this point should be 50-50. Listen, before she got injured last year, I pointed out that she lost like 35 out of 40 matches that she had. Like when I put it on the show, people were like, that can't be true. And then they looked it up. They're like, holy shit, it is true. She's lost a lot more matches than you think. But still, the perception is she comes back, title shot, handed to her. That's what's happening now with Bianca Belair. That's what happens a little bit with Becky. But you see the slickness. Nobody compares Becky Lynch to Hulk Hogan. They compare Becky Lynch more to Charlotte Flair. But you can't dare, if I'm Becky Lynch at WWE, you can't dare compare it to another current WWE superstar. So she's like, people call me Becky Hogan. What, one person out of every 100 who complain? So that's an easier way out. Nobody compares her to Hogan. Because here's the difference. You didn't have in the past Hogan losing championships, being injured, going away for 2 months, 3 months, a year, and then coming back and getting the championship right back. Outside of Toga, WrestleMania, outside of that, you're like, really? When you look back at Hogan, where did you have these gaps? He comes back and suddenly right back in the main event picture. No, he was always on top for the most part. All right, and then the main event, overbooked. Had to be overbooked. I said this a couple of months ago. I'm not saying it like I told you so, because I know a lot of you out there said it as well. The best place to have CM Punk lose to John Cena was in Saudi Arabia. Because Saudi Arabia would be the safest country where they would just eat it up and just happy that they got that main event instead of people shitting all over it and ripping it apart as if it would have happened in other areas. This was the safest place to have him lose. So they covered it up with a whole bunch of shit. Seth Rollins teasing the cash in, Braun Breaker showing up, this person's up. Penta. I'm one of Penta's biggest fans. I've said that for years. Happy's in WWE. But you come to the save. This was worse than Jeff Hardy when he debuted in AEW. And when Jeff Hardy debuted in AEW to rescue his brother Matt from getting beat down, and the music hits and people are like, holy shit. And then Jeff, instead of just immediately bolting down the ring, he looks out, he's going, whatever he does, I look like a bushwhacker more than him. Penta literally comes out yesterday. He's doing this. And it took Braun Breaker to charge him. I think it was Braun Breaker. Yeah. It took Braun Breaker to charge him. Oh, yeah. What's the word? Vamos. Vamos. The little wrestler in his head should have been like, Penta, vamos, vamos, Andre, yeah. Oh, he's out there to me like a Spanish Brutus beefcake. It was overbooked. It was another clusterfuck. You know, the hug and the teasing of another kick in the nuts. It was what it was. But listen, CM Punk is tremendously over. You have to admit, the man works his ass off. You know, is he past his prime? Yeah, absolutely. But there's no question, so far in 2025, John Cena's best feud, best work so far, not even close, in my opinion, CM Punk. People are hoping that this is revisited one more time. Unfortunately, this is the final 6 months of Cena's career. So, you know, in the ring. So that's probably not going to happen. But it was way overbooked. Just a whole bunch of mush with the expected finish. And we move on. Cena is still the champion. You know, I did like the moment where Cena picked up the belt, was going to do the belt shot, and all the fans are like, no, no, and Cena threw it out. But remember, didn't he do that with R-Truth as well? Didn't he didn't not do the belt shot, instead kick them in the balls? Okay, I'm not going to blow your brains out. Instead, I'm going to get this knife and do this instead. Cena and Punk had fun yesterday. You could feel it. I laughed at the post-match when CM Punk was in the ring and he was laid out. He was trying to get up and he kept falling back. Yeah, it was comedy, but the fans had fun. This was a fun match for the live crowd. It was a fun match at home as well. But again, this is pretty much summarizes John Cena's run so far. A lot of outside bullshit antics to cover up the fact that John Cena's had this belt now for, it's only 2.5, it's about 3 months. Little less than 3 months. Feels a lot longer, doesn't it? Feels a lot longer. All right. Let's get into some super shout outs and then we will segue to the chat a little bit. Thank you as always for the support. We've gone an hour already. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. Chainsaw Charlie. What's up, my friend? Did I watch the Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez fight? No. No. I wouldn't even watch if he would have fought a fucking professional. If he would have fought Logan, I would not have watched. Listen, I saw a lot of the noise online that people are now saying that his fights are fixed and people are getting paid millions to hold back from throwing punches and taking it easy. Compare it to the WWE ticket prices. These motherfuckers keep spending $50 to watch Jake Paul fight. They're going to keep doing this. And look at the boxing world. The boxing world. You got commentators now that are almost like ready to just blow a gasket on Jake Paul. Jake Paul! And then sudden. And they're like, oh, got to give him credit. You know, the boxing world is in on it too, in my opinion. You get some rogue people on social media that try to spread the truth, but as long as people keep paying that money, you're going to keep getting that shit. No, I didn't see it. I have no interest in seeing it. Ronnie C., thank you for the 10 spot. Wade Keller is such a douche for saying that about Kross. And did I see how many thumbs down their match is getting on YouTube for Kross losing at Night of Champions? I did watch some of the highlights. I mean, I watched it yesterday, but I watched some of the highlights, but I was reading a lot of the reaction. I don't see the number of thumbs down. I'm sure there's a website where you could click on a video and see how many thumbs down a video's really getting. I don't see it. I only see the thumbs ups. But if there's a lot of thumbs down, I think people are complaining about the victory. Isn't that something? Think about this for a minute. Sami Zayn is one of the most over wrestlers in that company, and yet people are still having conniption that he won. That's interesting. I don't think WWE expected it on that level. Yes, the people who scream and complain is a very, very tiny percentage. But I did look at that video reaction going down the list, and I was very surprised how many people were complaining that Kross lost. I don't think it was more about Sami winning. It was more about Kross losing, and there is a difference. But again, I have a feeling that we may see Sami trying to make Kross see the light. And I don't know how I feel about that unless they've totally scrapped the idea of Sami turning heel. If Sami's going to remain babyface up to him winning the world championship, then I could see that happening. Kross, it's right in front of you. Maybe you need to realize I don't know how I feel about that, but we shall see. We shall see. Jay Paulin, did I see the controversy online about CM Punk shaking the Saudi women's hands? You want to know something? I did see that screenshot of the two women, and people like, look how they're looking at him. No wonder why they call him Chick Magnet. When someone is starstruck, doesn't mean they want to have sex with them every time. Listen, I think some people don't know other traditions. Period. I don't think CM Punk realized, there's certain things you don't do or you shouldn't do. I don't think he's going to have any heat for it. I think he will realize now, I don't see any issue with it. I know there's some religions you absolutely, listen, on our Patreon Thursday, someone who lives in, I think he lives in Australia. No, he lives in England. He saw a cashier and she was Muslim. And, he was very friendly. And I think I don't know if he tapped her or without nothing sexual. I mean, I'm not defending it, but I saw a lot of people like, you do not put your hands on, under no circumstance. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that. I mean, me in this day and age, I don't touch nobody. I don't care what it is. I mean, I just, no. I don't think there's anything to it. I think especially if you're a wrestler and you go around ringside and you see a bunch of, I'm not saying that CM Punk did this, but you're ringside, see a bunch of hands and you start slapping hands and this and that. And then, you end up slapping the hand of a woman, I don't think there was anything malicious by it, and I'm sure he knows now. I listen, someone says caveman religion, it is what it is in some countries. That's it. If you're going to visit that country, you have to respect, their, the way they handle things, and you got to respect tradition, religion. Yeah, you probably don't want to go along with some of the things you absolutely disagree with, but you can't be one of those, man, if I want to shake someone's hand, I'm going to shake their hand. Man, you can't be one of those, just don't interact with anyone then, if that's the case. I don't think there's any perfect answer of that. So, Avili, I just saw this massive, huge, gigantic super chat you sent. We will definitely get into that in a few moments. I'll give a little hint for everyone out there. One of the topics is your favorite superhero of all time, your favorite villain. And I'm going to need some of your help with the superhero because I'm a little torn with my choices. The villain, there's only one person that comes to mind. But other questions he had, I pretty much have an idea of the answer. So, and you did send something else just now. I'll answer it in a minute. Michael Williams feels like WWE is lazy with this storytelling because they know fans will buy tickets and merchandise. Spot on. Spot on. It's almost like you're winning a game 10-0. So you put all listen, there's nothing wrong with giving your starters a rest. But I'll give it another example. You have a team that's already in the playoffs that's like 30 games ahead of everybody else. And they decide, you know what, we're going to start all our, minor leaguers or all the people we call, we're going to start off. And some people pay pretty fucking big money expecting to see the starters. And they're like, no, I'm not paying this kind of money to see, this. It's a bad comparison, but WWE's on cruise control right now. There's not a sense of urgency. And there's going to be a breaking point. I personally think and I know it's indirect, but it's not. I think renewing the Saudi deal is a very important aspect of this. Netflix, I know it's still a long ways away, but we talked about it last week. Netflix could back out after 5 years. Do you think, I mean, look, we're not financial experts. If I gave an answer acting like I know it, I'd be lying to you. But do you think the amount of money that Netflix paid, $500 million a year, do you think Netflix has gotten their money's worth for the first 6 months? I mean, remember the methodology. They're not averaging 2.7 million viewers worldwide. I don't care if it's Meltzer to WrestleNomics to Wrestle Schmuck. Anybody that tells you, oh, they only get 2.7, 2.9 million viewers a week is lying to you. I've already explained how it works. They take the total number of hours, they divide it by the total number of, the length of the show, and they get a number. With Nielsen, if you watch the show for 15 minutes, you're included in that quarter hour. When you have an extra million people watching the NBA playoffs, watch Collision, that million for those 15 minutes gets factored into the rating. It's only 1/8 of the rating, but it still factors in. If you watch, let's say Raw's 2 hours, you watch 30 minutes, your cousin in a different state watches 30 minutes, I watch 30 minutes, and my friend down the block watches 30 minutes. The 4 of us watch 30 minutes apiece. How many viewers are included in that rating? 1. They take the total length of the show, divide it into the total number of hours, and they do that when they offer it to advertisers. They say, we guarantee 2.7 million people watching the entire show. But that's based on watching the entire show, not 30 minutes, not an hour today, an hour later in a week. That's how they do it. If you watch the full 2 hours of Raw, you watch an hour tomorrow night, and you watch the other hour on Thursday, you are still only 1 viewer. Even if you watch from a different computer, even if you watch from a different house, because it's the total number of hours. A lot of these geniuses don't tell you that. So when you see people, the rating is down 50%. The first Raw was almost 3 hours. The Raw they compared it to was an hour and 40 minutes. People don't tell you that. But I do agree with you, Michael. They're on cruise control. If Netflix opts out after 5 years and Saudi doesn't renew their deal, which I think they will, and that stock starts to seriously dip, that's when you'll see, all right, we got to turn. And you know why I don't think that'll happen? Because WWE knows when to amp the shit up. I guarantee you, when we get a year before Saudi's deal is over, you'll have every motherfucker imaginable that could be a draw in the WWE beyond those shows. They won't pick and choose. They will have the greatest fucking whatever. Notice how they don't do the greatest Royal Rumble ever, the greatest this ever, the most unbelievable, epic, amazing, unbelievable. I know I said it twice, ever. Now they do, we'll crown king. We'll crown queen. We'll have title matches. So trust me, when we get a year before that deal is up for renewal, you will look back and be like, wow, they're really amping this shit up. Yeah, because they want they want the Saudis to think about now, not the last couple of years. They're on cruise control. But I know it's unpopular, but wouldn't you kind of do the same? Yeah, there's even more money. I get it. They could be making even more money. But, they're on cruise control. Look at the roster. The roster is having a little bit of a respite, not having to work, as many house shows a year. So, it benefits everybody. And listen, what happened to all those people? Oh, wrestling should have an off season. Could you imagine if WWE had an off season? What would you rather have? High ticket price or an off season? I'd rather have high ticket prices. You know why? Because I ain't leaving my fucking fat ass out of my house. I ain't paying those prices. Even if it was half the price, I wouldn't pay it. I'm going to pay $15,000 to sit in front row at Crown Jewel in Australia. I'd rather fucking watch it on my TV, lie and say I was there, go on ebay.au and buy a fucking ticket. Say, look, everybody, see I was there. I don't even know if they give paper tickets anymore. And you know what I would have done that $15,000? I would have bought a used car. Seriously. Or if I'm single and prostitution is legal, I get a whole bunch of women for the night. Be pretty expensive, though. Havili, today is the 27th anniversary of the Hell in a Cell match between The Undertaker and Mankind. Why didn't we get Lita and Becky versus Trish and Zoe? Well, if you're saying Hell in a Cell, listen, Trish and Becky tore it up in a cell. But Trish was pretty messed up after that match. Well, during that match. It's a match that has been extremely overhyped over the years. It's been used a lot better to settle real deep blood feuds. It would be a fun match, but I would not have it in a Hell in a Cell. Trish and Zoe, they tried to get Zoe over with Trish. Didn't work. Nothing against Zoe. But, I just personally think a tag match like that, that's something you would see if Raw went to Canada. Or maybe a Saudi match. Like, that's a match we could see on a PLE. But I don't know about a Mania, and I don't know about Hell in a Cell. I don't think the blood feud. Plus, Lita, with all due respect, is, she can't really work much anymore. Everybody tries to act like, oh, she could still go. Well, why isn't she? If she shows up at a wrestling event, she does one move and that's it. If she really wanted to still have matches, she could. I just personally think, that time has passed. And, listen, Trish and Zoe was not that long ago. Was it 2 years? Even then, Lita was well beyond. And as far as Hell in a Cell with Mankind and Undertaker, I brought it up on the history show yesterday. It's the first graphic on my thumbnail. I will never, ever forget that match. The Tooth. I had a friend. I had a friend once that had a real bad fall, and he landed mouth first on something, and literally the tooth went up and out of his nose. And I don't even know how that's humanly possible. When I broke, this is not real. This is a bridge right here. I broke this tooth in half when I was like 8 years old, and I broke it on a pool table. And, it just cracked in half. Like, that shit didn't go all the way up, even though it was pushed up a little bit. I don't know how you could, I mean, the fact that he's just like laughing is just painfully bizarre. But I always remember Terry Funk coming out and trying to get the shit, like the attention off of Mick Foley for a little bit so the officials could tend to him, and Terry Funk getting knocked out of his sneakers. That match, Jim Ross's reaction, the camera work of him coming down. I mean, my God, I still remember the Raw is War intro. And they speed it up, and you see him coming down. Don't even want to jump in a pool from that high in the air. This motherfucker jumps off and goes through the table. And keep in mind everything else that happened before it. It's a match that something like that will never happen again. Even in the most garbage of garbage promotions would never do something that's that risky. It's just, Mick Foley's still suffering to this day because of that. I mean, it's a culmination of his career, obviously, but, something like that, it's crazy. It's an insane match. You know, the only match that comes remotely near that for me that I will never ever watch ever again is the I Quit match. Remember the stupid thing with the pre-recorded, I quit, The Rock and Mick Foley, because I remember watching not wrestling with Shaw, Beyond the Mat. And they're playing the song Stand By Me, and they have the camera focused on Mick Foley's wife and his little kids, and you hear the chair shots, and they're crying hysterical. You know, what's sick about that is if you go back and watch, you'll see some fans like in the distance. Yeah, good shit. I could never ever watch that match again. It was disturbing how they did it in Beyond the Mat, but I just can't watch that match. Absolutely can't. It's too uncomfortable, especially when you know how bad his head was split open after. And, you know, The Rock's reaction afterwards was a little bit strange if you look back on it. I mean, I don't think he realized the magnitude of how much damage he caused. But even Vince McMahon, I really appreciate what you did, but don't ever do that again. It's like, yeah, it's just, that is a disturbing match, man. All right, Havili, I'll get into your other, the big one. The big one. Eat the big one. Elizabeth, eat the big one. I'll get into the big one in like 5 minutes. We'll prepare everybody. Start thinking in your brain, everybody. Favorite superhero of all time, favorite villain. Let's spend a couple of moments in the chat. Everybody is laughing at my sense of humor. I don't think I'm really funny. I was never funny in school. The only time I was ever funny in school is when I did stupid things. You know, like I would do stupid things in school. People would laugh at it. Like I break pencils over my head. For some reason, people always laughed at that. I don't have any pencils around, but I literally would just sit here and just stand at a desk, go, and I just break pencils over my head. That hurt more than you think just now. Michael Gonzalez, my thoughts on the Mets and the Yankees so far. Aaron Judge is killing it. Another MVP year. 350 average, 30 home runs. The Mets losing 9 of their last 12. You know, they're going to rebound. I said earlier this year that their pitching was not going to hold up as good as it was early in the year. They're 1 or 2 trading deadline signings away, and they'll be able to. They just have to win the division. They cannot go to the wild card and take that chance. I expected this, but they're still 47-34. They're around that. Record might not be exact. I don't have it in front of, but I think they're fine. They will rebound. They're too good of a team to keep this rut. Listen, I see Havili Super Chaz to do it, Mets. And I look at the 86 Mets who won, 108 games? There were points in that year that they had a little bit of a tailspin. Individual players would have a tailspin. I don't know the exact number, but Darryl Strawberry in 1986, I think it was the month of August, Shea Stadium where they played at home, for the entire month of August, he was 0-45. A lot of people think Darryl had a tremendous 86 season. Imagine a month before the playoffs, month and a half, and you're 0-45 at Shea Stadium. First of all, you get booed out of the building. Second of all, 0-45, it's pretty fucked up. There were a lot of players that ran into spurts. I think they'll be fine. Maggie says she sometimes don't even laugh at some of the professional comedians, but I always make her laugh. I appreciate it. I don't rehearse. I don't think about it beforehand. You know, I may say some stupid things at times, but there's no malice involved. I'm not trying to, piss anybody off. I just speak my mind. I say what I mean what I say, and, take it, agree with it, disagree with it. All I say is respect it. If I have a viewpoint, you may not agree with it. Just respect it because I'll respect yours. You know, sometimes, you know, I get a little bit over the top. I admit it. But I still have fun doing this. You know, I don't have that boring of a life, you know, because if you would have told me in 1997 I'd still be doing this, my reaction would have been at that time is, man, my life would have sucked. Either would have been wheelchair bound, 600 pounds and couldn't move, the ugliest motherfucker around, you know, and just have no job and just live on welfare and just have like a $50 webcam and just talk to everybody every day. Hey, everybody, I'm bored. I have no life, but I want to try to make myself sound important. I still love talking about wrestling. I love talking about everyday stuff as well. It's just that I get it. Most of you are here about wrestling. You know, we could talk politics. We could talk real life. We could talk about stuff, you know. In 2026, there's going to be some things coming. I won't have the history show anymore to do. And that is a huge amount of work every week. In 2026, I will tell you now, there will be a lot more happening, especially on YouTube. Will there be an everyday show? I don't want to say that, but there is going to be a lot. I'm already planning it. And part of it has nothing to do with wrestling. Not sure how much that will be, but there's going to be, put it this way, people are going to get a little angry. Trust me, I know this sounds awful. But, nah, you know, we'll save that for another day. Some of you know where I was going with it. Tristan wants to know my thoughts on the infamous Val Venus Choppy PP segment. One of my favorite of all time. I take pride on my history show. I have the uncensored picture with his bare ass showing. Trust me, we didn't look at Salamis the same afterwards. It was funny. I mean, it was just funny what they did. Like, to me, if you want to sum up the Attitude Era and the over-the-top wild shit, that's all you have to have. Val Venus held up, naked, and you just see a samurai, a Japanese guy that's supposed to be a samurai with a sword. Oof. Crazy shit. Crazy times. Kevin Milwaukee, do I still intend to someday release the footage of the nasty fall I took on my wedding because of the fog machine? Yeah, I will. I will in the very near future. Some people have wanted to see my wedding video. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if I want to do it on a recorded show. Maybe I'll just stream live one day and then they'll just shut the video down. Maybe we'll do a watch along. My wedding reception is, although people will see me do a little bit of salsa, you'll see me with my hips going like this. Trust me, my hips hurt afterwards, but probably because of the fall. Yeah, I will show it soon. Absolutely. Van says you couldn't do that Val Venus segment these days. I don't think you should have ever seen that segment. It was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, everybody knew, you know, but oof, that was crazy when it went down. Usually when people tell me like 5 attitude era moments that sum up the Attitude Era, Val Venus, choppy pee-pee. I choppy your pee-pee. I actually used to have on one of my social media accounts, I don't remember which one it was, but we were on message boards in the early and mid 2000s. I had an account and it was choppy your pee-pee. I think that's what it was, but they told me to change the name because at that time you had a lot of beheadings overseas, especially after 9/11 and Al Qaeda and the war in Iraq. Yeah, you can choppy your pee-pee. I'll never forget. You want to hear something twisted? It's a true story. And if people think I'm lying, if you're still friends with her, ask her. She'll tell you it's true. Anybody remember a female valet in wrestling named Dana Damison? Does anybody remember Dana Damison? The urban legend is that Rob Feinstein did a shoot interview with Dana Damison so he could get laid. You know, Rob had his M&Ms plain in with peanuts. Okay. I was friends with Dana Damison. She was actually a very cool chick. I don't know what she's up to. I don't even know if she even follows wrestling anymore. I hope she's doing well. We hung out a couple of times. Nothing ever happened. I want to make that clear. But she had a weird sense of humor. And one time she sent me an email and she says, because her friend worked in a strip joint in Jersey. I don't remember the name of the strip joint, but a lot of wrestlers used to go to the strip joint. I went with her once. It was very weird because I thought I was scoring in some way, shape, or form with somebody, and it didn't happen. But she emailed me like a day or two later. She says, "You want to see a video of my girlfriend naked?" I was like, "Yeah." And she emailed me a video of somebody overseas in Iraq tied and getting his pee-pee cut off because he committed assault. And I wrote back, I'm like, "Fuck you." And she's like, LOL, LMAFO, whatever that is. And then like a couple of weeks later, she's like, "Here's the video, the real video, my girlfriend. I'm sorry." And she sends me another video, and it's somebody in Iraq or Iran getting their head cut off. This was her sense of humor. I think I'm getting to see naked videos of either her and her friends, and instead she's sending me videos of somebody really getting their choppy people. She's very disturbed. And again, if any of you still talk to her, ask her. True story. All right. Roderick, between feuds with Cena and Orton, is there a risk Cody loses fans over time? More want to see him go heel, and both Cena and Orton have reached beloved legend status with a lot of fans. And listen, Cody Rhodes still gets an unreal pop. So who really, there's no majority out there that want to see Cody turn heel. Wrestling fans enjoy the moment. Wrestling fans don't give a shit about 6 months from now. Don't give a shit a year from now, 2 years. Sure, we want to fantasize who's going to wrestle WrestleMania and this and that. But fans live in the moment. And in the moment right now, Cody Rhodes is still the number one guy. People online, he's bland. Say that to fanatics. When you look at all of the athletes outside of wrestling that sell memorabilia on Fanatics, and Cody Rhodes is in the top 5, what does that tell you? Just look at basketball and look at the players there, and Cody Rhodes. That's not a fluke. Cody Rhodes is that guy. You're not going to jeopardize that because there's this weird vibe online that, he's got to turn heel. Cody Rhodes feeds into it. Cody just did it with that woman. We played it on Monday, I think it was. It was either Monday or Wednesday show. When Cody was saying, I think it's 1 to 3 years from now, heel. You don't know that. We will feel it when the time is right. You don't know that. He's killing it right now. And it's an interesting time because he is an amazing role model who loves drinking Wheatley vodka. It's like, this is not your quintessential, role model, but still, he's at the top. You're not changing that anytime soon. When it gets played out, listen, even Hogan, say what you want. When Hogan left to go to WCW, Hogan was still extremely popular. Not what he was in the late 80s, mid 80s, but was still extremely popular. I mean, they didn't have 5,000 plants in the street when he had the parade in Orlando. It felt a little bit strange, like, wow, he's getting like an amazing parade over this. And what happened? He comes into WCW and immediately beats Flair for the belt. I mean, you do that today. I mean, that's like, bringing back Charlotte Flair after injury and Becky Lynch and everybody else you want to shit on, and multiply that by 1,000. And yet the fans still popped, but Hogan, when he turned and went NWO, there was still resistance to it, but it was time. You kind of felt it. A lot of people were tired of Backlund in 82, 83. 82, not so much, but by 83, when Backlund would lose by DQ against the Masked Superstar, it would win on a countdown or lose on a countdown, you realize, man, he won the title in 78. It was great. 79 was okay. 80 was interesting. 81 was kind of 82 was kind of epic with Snuka. Then 83, it was like, time to move on. And then ultimately they would go to Sheik and then Hogan. We'll know when the time is right. Not because a couple of people on social media scream loud and 1,000 people respond. Even if something gets 1,000 likes, there's millions upon millions of fans. That's this. It's this. All right. Yes, you're enjoying the show. Hit that thumbs up. Very much appreciated. I think it's time we get into Havili's, what do they call it? Bombing? What do some other podcasts call it when you bomb the show? He dropped us with a 4-bomb. Havili, I thank you very much for your generosity, man. Trust me, it helps pay the bills, helps grow everybody, but your generosity. I tell you the truth. If you want one of these bobbleheads, I'll ship it to Australia. I still have like 10 of them. I don't have any update yet about Kev Castle bobbleheads. I inquired to see if he could still get them made up. I don't know how much it would be for this set, but I'm looking into it. I promise you this. You have my word. If bobbleheads.com tells me they still have the template and they could still do it, whatever it costs to make and the postage to ship it, I'll probably just keep U.S. postage. That's all I'm going to charge for it. I will not do it, anything, not making money off of it, but I'm going to follow up with it this week and ask them because I know a lot of people have been asking. So I love the original bobbleheads. The original bobbleheads that had the stand. If anybody remembers, we did these bobbleheads like 18 years ago. It's been that long. And there was a little speaker thing and a digital. 18 years ago, technology was different. And for like 10 seconds, you could talk into it. I don't remember if we played part of our intro or if I just went blah, 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 blah. But we would ship it out to everybody with something pre-recorded in the speaker. So that is true. Havili, DM me on Patreon because he just became a member of our Patreon family as well. If you want, I'll ship it to Australia. Just give me your address. Give me your address. Shout out from Brisbane. It's Monday the 30th where he's at. Thank you for everything you do is the GOAT. I appreciate that. My thoughts on the reaction that CM Punk got in Saudi Arabia. Who is my all-time New York Mets team? I always love that question because I get to brag a little bit. Favorite unlikely tag team from this list. The Rock and Sock Connection, Team Hell No, or Team RK Bro. Favorite movie hero, superhero, and favorite villain. All right. First off, the reaction that CM Punk got. I heard Bobby Roode produced the SmackDown segment, and I thought it was very well done. Was it perfect? No. CM Punk is out of his element. When Kurt Angle, last week was the anniversary of Kurt Angle, I think in John Cena's battle rap from many years ago. Kurt Angle doesn't rap, but he did it so much like a white guy, like a white boy. It's kind of like what they do at weddings now. Like when you hear and I'm not trying to be racial here, but let's be honest. What happens with really milquetoast white people? Throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. And if you're just like me with dirty underwear, everybody say, oh yeah. Clap your hands, everybody. Everybody, clap your hands. There's certain like hip hop from back in the day. That it's almost like every white person has to, for some reason, try to like memorize. It is what it is. I laugh at it. I'm lighthearted about it. But that's why back in the day I was into so much hip hop. It would get embarrassing because me and my friends, bass, how low can you go? And like we would do it and everybody would be like really into it. And then you start reciting some of the lyrics for like NWA and Public Enemy. And then you realize maybe us Italian white boys should not be reciting this because you'll be like, don't believe the hype. And then all of a sudden, black militant. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, and then you start realizing they're talking about apartheid and everything else. Thank God it's not what it used to be. But, my point is, CM Punk is not that type of character. So he mimicked John Cena. I thought he did a decent job. He looked fucking great. I like the drug-free that he did. People were making a big deal that WWE edited this segment. That's different from what we talked about last week with R-Truth. If you heard last week's show and you heard how bad Netflix fucked that up, that's different. Here, you're just smoothing, and trying to flow it a little bit better. That's fine. Every movie that you see in a movie theater, things are trimmed down a little bit to make it smoother. How many podcasters out there? If you look at their video closely, they have like 1,000 edits in it because they say like 2 sentences and then they get a brain fart and all of a sudden you see an edit and then they'll be like, blah, 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 blah. And then suddenly they're looking the other way, blah, 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 blah. And so another edit, blah, 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 blah. I watch people who do podcasts, they think that they're legends. And I'm like, you need 500 edits because you can't just flowingly put a couple of sentences together. You say 2 sentences and then your mind goes into mush. Oop, got to cut it here. And then you action. And then you start up again. So that's where I compare the CM Punk segment from Friday. Saudi Arabia, I'm sure there's a lot of people in Saudi Arabia that are totally against the actions of their government. Look at the United States. What he said towards The Miz, the funny thing is when he said to that fan at the pre-show, the kickoff show, look, I woke up one morning and I was in a pissed off mood and I said that shit to Miz. I went back and looked at the tweet because I was like, what time did he send it? And he actually sent it, I think it's 7:11 a.m. So it's probably true what he said. That was not a plant. They knew damn well that CM Punk refused to go to Saudi Arabia for many years, labeled it blood money. But let's be honest, guys, without trying to start controversy, a lot of people say, Saudi is bloody money. But then when a fan holds up their podcast sign, it's just epic, amazing, unbelievable. I'm even getting noticed in Saudi Arabia. Is there anything wrong with that? No. Because the fans live in attendance are not the ones. They're just trying to live life in Saudi Arabia and they love WWE. And that's why I think CM Punk had a change of heart. I think when Sami Zayn had a change of heart, because obviously things that was going on over there, I think you realize, okay, it's more about entertaining the fans there than anything else. And again, not sticking up for CM Punk, but the CM Punk from 10 years ago is different from the CM Punk now. I brought up the Ultimate Warrior on Patreon Thursday. The Ultimate Warrior, queer doesn't make the world work. And then, his wife started getting through his head a little bit. And a few years later, he started having legitimate changes in viewpoints. people do grow, people do evolve, people do have a change of heart, people do mature. And I think that's what Triple H was trying to point out at the media scrum yesterday. I don't think there's this Punk, I got an idea. You're going to be live at the kickoff. We're going to put a plant. That plant's going to tell you about the tweet. And you're going to apologize. That's a little bit much to go all of that. I mean, there was obviously people that are still upset of what he said. I don't think for a bunch of money, CM Punk decided, I'm going to apologize that people will remember for the rest of my career, my life, simply because I'm taking money now. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. Remember Finn Balor, didn't Finn Balor perform in Saudi Arabia wearing LGBTQ colors? You swear that happened. Nobody called for his head. Pretty sure that happened. I mean, Punk has held up signs for trans rights. Punk, has a lot of viewpoints. And, it's not just the viewpoints that you agree with. If he has changed his view a little bit, feels like things are better, women are now wrestling there. Yes, they still have to be fully clothed and everything, but, every country is different. I can't explain CM Punk's head. But I don't think that CM Punk suddenly turned into this selfish, hypocrite, that just gave in to the Saudi money. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. My favorite all-time Mets team, by far, it's the 1986 Mets. I still take pride that I have almost every baseball game from that year. It's the most epic team that I ever watched. Loved the attitude. Loved how many fights they got into. People still challenge me once in a while as far as who was on that roster. And, I'd have to really think about it a little bit, but I used to be able to go through the jerseys from 1 to 50 and be able to sit here and tell you every single name. I mean, I couldn't, if I even tried right now, I would definitely fuck up. But I know Mookie Wilson was number 1. I'm not even going to move my eyes. Mookie Wilson was number 1. Kevin Elster was number 2. Rafael Santana was number 3. Lenny Dykstra 4. Davey Johnson 5. Wally Backman 6. Kevin Mitchell 7. Gary Carter 8. Nobody was number 9, I believe. Number 10 was Rusty Staub. No, Rusty Staub was not on that team in 86. I don't think anybody was number 10 at that time. Magadan had 10 years later, but he was number 29 that time. Number 11 was Tim Tuffle. Ron Darling was number 12. Mazzilli was 13. 14 was retired. 15 was George Foster, but they booted his ass. People called it racist at the time, too. 16 was Gooden. Hernandez is 17. 18 was Strawberry. 19 was Ojeda. 20 was Howard John. You keep going. And we just, I used to be able to do them all. I don't remember every single one, but 21 was nobody. 22 was Terry Leach. 23 was Buddy Harrelson. 24 was retired for Willie Mays. 25 was Danny Heap. I don't think anybody was 26. Who was 27? Stanley Jefferson, I think for a short period of time. 28, I think was Randy Needman. 29, I don't think was anybody. I think who had it the year before? Can't remember his name. So again, you catch me a little off guard. I don't think anybody was number 30. 31 was Bruce Bereni. I don't think anybody was number 32. 33 was Barry Lyons, even though he was there for a very short period of time. Nobody was 34. 35, Tom Gordon, I'm not sure. 36 was nobody. 37, nobody for sure. 38 might have been Randy Neiman. There was nobody 39. I think 40 was Doug Sisk. Hated that guy. 41, nobody used. Would end up being retired. 42 was Oh, Roger McDowell. I'm going through the list. 43, I don't remember. 44, I don't think was anybody. Darling had that number the year before. 45, don't remember. 46, I don't think there was anybody. 47 was a Roscoe. 48 might have been Randy Neiman. 49, I don't recall. And 50 was El Cid. Nobody was higher than that. Then you had like trainers. So go figure. I used to do that with the Yankees too. Like 78 Yankees, I would go all down the line. But my favorite team by far is 86 Mets. Not even close. As far as those three oddball teams, RK Bro, Team Hell No, and the Rock and Sock Connection. Rock and Sock Connection, for me, it was so disturbing to see that how violent that feud was with Rock and Foley. And to see them come together, not just on camera, but off camera, was a beautiful thing to live through and to see. It's still unbelievable, the rating that This Is Your Life got. I mean, just imagine wrestling getting 8s and 9s in the ratings. In fact, I even think that segment got a higher number than that. It's amazing. I always have a special place for Rock and Sock. RK Bro was fun. Hell No was definitely fun. No. When they would see the doctor, the psychiatrist. But Rock and Sock will always be for me. And favorite movie, superhero, and favorite villain. I'd love to hear some of your choices out there. For me, favorite villain is Heath Ledger's Joker. I always loved the Joker. Jack Nicholson was great also at it, but Heath Ledger just took it to a different level, in my honest opinion. As far as superhero goes, I always liked Spider-Man. I never really liked Superman all that much. Michael Gonzalez says Wolverine. Listen, everybody that puts a name out there, good choice. But, for me, probably Spider-Man, but I don't know what actor I would actually take from that. The Batman was good. Growing up, Michael Keaton was tremendous. And then years later, you see everybody else who played Batman. You know who I actually have a place for? I don't know if we would consider him no, we wouldn't consider him a superhero. I was going to say James Bond. Would James Bond be considered a superhero? I don't think so. No, because a superhero has to have superpowers. James Bond was just a lucky fuck. He was a lucky fucker. But I liked Michael Keaton because it was, the first one at the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, Batman and Robin from the 60s. Pow, zoom. I always enjoyed it. It was so funny at times that at first, you have to watch it back to see some of the humor that you didn't pick up on the first time around. Iron Man is a good one. Todd McFarlane's Spawn is his favorite anti-hero. Got a couple of choices for Michael Keaton. I never liked Burt Ward. Adam West I liked. Even though he came off as like a goof when you really think about it. Burt Ward reminded me of my brother. I don't know. Do I have the picture here? I don't think I do. Maybe I do. Do I have it? Nah, not really. The one where I was in the plane that time where I had that disgusting tan. I might actually have it handy. Let me see if I could pull it up really, really quick. If I can't pull it up really, really quick, then I won't. Let me see if I can find it. Image. There's a picture of my brother on a plane when I went on a cruise in 1986, and I looked pathetic. But I always thought my brother looked like Burt Ward. Is it here? I'm looking at these pictures. Is it here? No, it's not here. Damn. I got every other picture but that one. That sucks. Yeah, I have to show you another time. I have to show you that time. But hey, I got one over here. Look, this is me from 1984. Look, you talking to me? You talking to me? That's me on the right. You talking to me? That was my haircut. It's kind of the same. That's my dad all the way on the left. My dad was always pimping. So I still got my hair. So some good choices. Jack Nicholson was great as the Joker. Was really, really good as the Joker. You know, for me, growing up, like, there was a Spider-Man TV series in like 1977 or 78 that was so bad it was actually good. If you ever want to see some really campy, like 70s TV, go on YouTube. I'm sure there's episodes there. Look up Spider-Man, the TV series from the 70s. It's goofy. It's goofy. But my favorite Bond, I tell you, like, I always had a soft spot for Roger Moore because of the Cannonball Run. Remember when he got into the fight in the Cannonball Run? I'm Roger Moore. And he still got his ass kicked. But no, I think Sean Connery. Sean Connery was just a man. To me, he was just a man. I mean, you look back, you know, I mean, I loved his work later on. I think he did The Untouchables, right? Sean Connery was fucking awesome, man. Always. I didn't know much about Sean Connery until years later. I was too young. TV. So growing up, the only Bond that I really ever saw was Roger Moore. But then you would see the James Bond from like the 60s, and you'd be like, wow, Sean Connery's fucking pimping over here. So yeah, you know what? Douche says it great, Havili. When the Sci-Fi Channel first started, and most of the shows was old 60s, 70s, and 80s stuff, Dark Shadows, Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno was great. You know, Bill, you know, you look back on it, Bill Bixby was a pussy. What a sissy pussy. I mean, think about it. If that guy fucking had any type of balls, like, Lou Ferrigno would never come around. If he had any confidence, somebody starts fucking him and be like, oh yeah, I crack you over the head. I beat Bill Bixby here. How do you like it, asshole? How do you like it? Like, Bill Bixby, like, would always get triggered. You know, he actually kind of reflects a lot of today's society. Like, he would always turn green because he got triggered, you know? Take a Xanax once in a while. Get a little bit laid back. You know, I don't say it funny, but Lou Ferrigno was good. He did a good job with that. David Banner, not Bruce Banner, David Banner. I think it was David. David Banner, a man. No, wait, I'm mixing it up with $6 million. $6 Million Man was a great fucking show, too. Would Steve Austin be considered a superhero? Not. What? Talking about $6 Million Man. I mean, he did have special powers. If you were ever a fan, we'll move back to wrestling, but if you were ever a fan of $6 Million Man, there's a video on YouTube you have to go out of your way to watch. It's a video, and it shows the behind the scenes, how they used to do the leaps, has to do a lot of the, you know, little special effects. And you look back on it, and it's pretty fucking funny how they did some of the things they did. I mean, they literally would have him like jump down from something, and they just like do it in reverse. And he's like, you look at it and you'd be like, wow, you know, they really didn't have to spend all that much money for the special effects. And then they show you little bloopers where you actually see like the camera in some scene. It's definitely worth a watch. You'll definitely appreciate it. You'll get a kick out of it. So, Havili, I can't thank you enough, my friend. Very, very kind of you. And hope I answered well. Okay, let's get into some more questions. We'll be wrapping it up soon. Don't want to put anybody on overload. Who is this from? This is from Rocky Red. There are people out here predicting and manifesting a Cody Cena double turn in the same vein as Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa. Four letters, one word. Nope. There's no double turn coming. Cody Rhodes is still, listen, I'll say it, this is the only argument I can make right now. It pisses me off that Rock had to go out of his way on media scrums to tell us that what we see in the ring are characters. Triple H did that too. WWE Unreal is coming out in 1 month. Remember 2 months ago, I told you that WWE Unreal is going to be circled a lot around Jey Uso? The little birdie that told us, that stuff was right. Jey Uso is a big part of WWE Unreal. WWE Unreal is only 5 episodes, 50 minutes apiece without ads. They're all coming out in one sitting. You will have the entire 5 episodes in one sitting, and a lot of it is circled around Jey Uso. Where am I going with this? If Cody Rhodes were the turn at SummerSlam, every time they do a Fanatics, every time he does an interview, every time he does an appearance on radio, leading up to Mania, we're going to be reminded over and over again that what we're watching in the ring is a character. And the problem is this: Cody Rhodes, for 2.5 years, was not portraying himself as a character. This was a story. It was personal. It was about Dusty. It's about getting the championship that the family could never get. That's why Cody Rhodes was so easy to gravitate to for so many fans. He's not the common man. Dusty Rhodes, you wouldn't even say is the common man. I didn't know many common men growing up that looked like Dusty. But Dusty Rhodes, his persona, his attitude, the way he saw things, people could identify with him in real life. Cody Rhodes in a lot of ways as well. But Cody Rhodes, his struggle was a little bit different than the struggle of the everyday person. He hasn't been broke. He hasn't not had this. What was eluding him was the world championship, but still his intimate connection with the fans, how he talked to people, how he respected people. You can't just do a double turn and stop all of that. That's why I always bring up John Cena ever since they started this storyline. John Cena hasn't changed one bit. John Cena does autograph signings, does appearances, does radio, Make-A-Wish. He is the same person than he was before Elimination Chamber. It's because we all believe that John Cena's almost like a movie. We're actually seeing live a TV series. John Cena as John Cena, the heel. We believe that John Cena is playing a character for the last bunch of months because he's not that person outside the ring. Cody Rhodes, if he turns heel, it would clash with everything he's done up to now. You cannot have Cody Rhodes cut the same promo like John Cena that you've all used me. It would fall flat. It would fall so much worse than John Cena. So do not pay attention to those people with the double turns. Just because he has a little extra passion and acts a little heel in the match doesn't mean he's going heel yet. It would be asinine to turn him right now. He's too over. It's asinine. It's asinine. People will say it long enough, and then when it happens, they'll be like, you see, I was right. You were wrong for 3 years. I'll make a prediction. Vince McMahon is going to die. Hulk Hogan is going to die. I'm going to die. You're going to die. I'm making that prediction right now. Except for mine, one day I'll be here. See, I was right. Say it long enough, we'll all be right. I don't pay attention to those people. Fuck them. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. Havili says he met in a normal tag match. He knows that I'm happy, married man, no disrespect to my beautiful wife, but just say she gives me a hall pass to date any celebrity. Who is my hall pass? Right now? Right now? I haven't really paid close attention. I haven't paid close attention to the women. out there. And I'm not making it up. Like most of the women that I've paid attention to are on Pornhub. I don't know their names. I could probably tell you what they look like between the, I'm just joking. I don't have anybody offhand. Give me a week. Next Sunday show, you do not have to remind me. Next Sunday show, I will open up the show and I'll say, Havili, I did my research the last 7 days and this is the person I would choose. He says an actress, though. Talking about a celebrity. If we're talking about women's wrestling, oh, I could come up with some names like this. But it might come off creepy. I mean, I remember when Scott Hall said that about Paige. I don't remember how old Scott Hall was at that time. He couldn't have been too far off than I am now. I mean, granted, some of the women I'm talking about are a lot older than, Paige was at the time, but I will definitely, first thing next week, I'll give you my answer. I will look. I'll check out the field a little bit. I'll do a Google search. I will say that my choice will be a brunette. I'm not really into blondes. It's always been my deal. Jimmy Finger says Julie Nemar. As far as normal tag team match, even if he's talking about Lita and Trish and Zoe versus Lita and Becky, the storyline at the time, Lita was not really, listen, when Lita got attacked, talk about a storyline that really did not finish the way we thought it would. I just don't think Lita really can go anymore. Yeah, I'm sure if she really put all her eggs in one basket, she would be able to do a match. And for all we know, she could end up working Evolution. But the thing is, at the time, it just did not seem that WWE was that invested to have the legends going at it. They wanted Trish. I do believe Trish and Becky was always the end game. I don't think Lita, if you notice, I mean, if we're being honest, guys, you notice WWE has kind of ignored Lita for the last bunch of years. Once in a while she's mentioned, but it is nowhere near the level of how they mentioned Trish. Even if Trish couldn't wrestle. At one point, not too long ago, Trish and Lita were pretty much like this. Maybe Trish was slightly higher. Now it's like this. It's changed quite a bit. I just don't think Lita could go anymore. I'm sure she probably has one match still left in her, but I don't think she has one more big feud in her. And I think that's the reason why we didn't get that. Jimmy Finger says, speaking of Bill Bixby Hulk, he puts Jack McGee as one of his top sleeper villains. He was more of a pest. Jack McGee was a pain in the ass. What a pain in the ass. I honestly, if I was Bill Bixby, I would have got fake ID and I would have said, this guy keeps stalking me. Arrest this guy. I would have planted drugs on him. I would have done something. I would have been like, this guy keeps stalking me. In fact, back then, I don't even think they were really doing much with DNA testing yet. I would have accused Jack McGee of some type of assault. I would have called the cops on him. I would have set him up. Jack McGee was a pain in the ass. More of like a mosquito. You again? That show is kind of interesting when you think back at it. You ever notice that David Banner never got laid either? I mean, they would tease once in a while that he's getting close to a woman and the woman gets killed. And then he snaps and he turns green. David Banner never got laid. Never got laid. Never saw him go to like a singles club. Hey, honey, you want to see something good? Let's go to my house. Smack me in the face. No, I don't want. Smack me, bitch. Wait, you got a surprise coming. And then all of a sudden he turns green. It'd been like a bad X-rated film. That would have been a good X-rated movie back then. Bill Bixby picks up a chick in a bar, takes her home, and forces her to beat him up so he could turn green. I can't believe we're talking about this. If Twitter's feed is going, I can only imagine some of you out there that never tuned into the show before, like, what's up with this guy? I hope the Twitter feed worked. I hope it worked. Jim Khan, 1479. Thank you very much for the 10 spot, my brother. What is WWE? Why does WWE bother saying it's a character? In sports, you have characters too. The controversial Dennis Rodman, the good guy Michael Jordan leading the Bulls to the big game. No, you see, they were personalities. They were characters. Like, he's a character. But that is more of like, he's got an identity. You know, he's got a charisma. He's got a personality about him. It's not just the guy playing basketball. It's, you know, this one likes fast cars and fast women. This person likes this. This person's a partier. You know, this person gets animated, goes on talk shows and laughs it up. He's a character. When Rock and Triple H say it, what they're trying to basically say to you is, listen, what you see in the ring is story. These are people portraying characters. See, when you talk about Dennis Rodman, nothing about Dennis Rodman was fake. Like, Dennis Rodman was like, I hate girls, but I have to bang him anyway, so I have this persona. Everything you saw about Dennis Rodman was him. Everything you saw about Jordan was him. Everything you see about any bad boy is them. When it comes to wrestling, they try to separate the person from the character. Rock tried to do that with Dave LaGreca. Dave LaGreca, you know, we know what happened there, but, you know, that's the difference. You know, when you see something happening in the ring and you really get over the top triggered by it, basically what Triple H and Rock are saying, like, oh, easy, cowboy. But it's just a character out there. You know, don't take it too seriously. You know, you're going to blow a gasket. You have an aneurysm. Oh, ease up. Ease up. I know it's not real to me, damn it, but I still have emotion. Nah, you're basically saying, like, I don't want to be compared to that fool, but I am. You know, when you see, we played it for the channel members on Monday. You see the guy sitting at ringside during Raw, and who kicked out? Oh, Jey Uso kicked out. Oh, no. Cody Rhodes kicked out of Crossroads. And they had that one guy at ringside that knew the camera was on him. And he was so good, they put the camera on him twice. And as soon as Cody Rhodes kicked out of Crossroads, you see the guy and he's like, what? And it took me 10 minutes. I literally synced up his voice, his video with my voice. And if anybody on channel members is sort of the version, you literally see him. He's like, what? And then right after, there's another move, and he's like, I'm like, there ain't no fucking way you're a wrestling fan. You actually thought Jey Uso was winning that. Unless your name is Rikishi, brother. What? I'm trying to figure out which is better. That or my Nikki Bella impersonation. Nikki, you're going to have to take a big bump at Evolution. No, now I got to think about it. No, it was hair versus hair. No, I can't do it now. Fuck. Shit. I can't see when I think about it. I can't do it. I got to listen back to it. Like, Nikki, we're going to do a hair versus hair. Would you be interested in No, I can't do it. Fuck. We'll do it next week. I got to listen back. See, I have to like think of the voice in my head. And then I could do it. No. Oh, I can't. No. I can't do it. Forget it. We got to start wrapping this up. So I can't. I can't. Oh, my God. Wow, we got a lot of love for David Banner tonight. Jimmy Fingers with a 10 spot. David Banner was probably afraid he would transition to Hulk during Climax. That's crazy, man. Plus, he might have gone from an average 5 to John Holmes 14. Banner didn't want to hurt anyone. That is true, but that TV series would have ended many, many years ago or years earlier. Why is this not coming up? I'm waiting for it to pop up on the screen. I want to show everybody what you said. For some reason, it ain't coming up. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Here we go. Yeah, but you know why I don't believe that? Because there were scenes where David Banner would seem like he's gonna get close to a woman. And it wasn't a case where a woman went to kiss him and he like turned the other way. Like there wasn't a scene where like he's like getting close to a woman and she goes to kiss him. Pretend it's his lips. He goes to kiss him and he goes like this. I can't. And he wouldn't lie either. He could have just simply said to a woman, look, I just lost my wife. She fell off a cliff and I just can't get close to anybody right now. Like they would tease that he's going to get in a relationship and then the woman would always die. So, but that is funny, man. That is funny. But then again, we've heard rumors of Luke Ferrigno. Luke Ferrigno, let me see. Do I have any props? Yeah, there's rumors that Lou Ferrigno's pee-pee looked like this. Oh. I don't know if it's true. I know everybody knows the size of Batista's thingy, but I can't believe we're talking about this. We lost like 150 people live. I'm not kidding either. It's all good. It's all good. Havili, thank you for the extra 50, my friend. In my opinion, why doesn't WWE mention Tamina and Jimmy Snuka apart from the Samoan dynasty anymore? Yes, they are Fijian, but they are related by marriage. Besides the Hall of Fame in Philadelphia, and after the Jacob match, why Haku did not return to the WWE? As far as Haku goes, we did see Haku make an appearance in Philly. No. Was it in Philly? No. He was in Vegas. Didn't win Jacob Fatu. Didn't he win the belt? Wasn't Haku somewhere? I remember Haku sit at ringside. Someone will clarify this or confirm this in the chat. Haku was seen once on television. I don't remember if it was Jacob Fatu's win, but Haku did show up at ringside one time and celebrated his kid's win. And I think it was that. I could be wrong about the night, but I'm sure someone in the chat is going to confirm this. It was WrestleMania. Thank you, Roderick. I do remember that. It's just WWE does not want to incorporate the family. I don't know why. They don't want to incorporate the family members. Once you reintroduce the person, then people want to expect it and see it. Once they did not have Rikishi, and listen, Rikishi, say what you want about his comments now. Rikishi is still not that far off from a fun wrestling career. I mean, Too Cool is not that long ago. I mean, yeah, a couple of decades, but still. You know, a lot of fans love Rikishi. I mean, you would think that he'd be one of the guys always sitting at ringside when they do like Saturday Night's Main Event and everything else. But then again, I can imagine right now, hey, Keish, we want you to sit at Saturday Night's Main Event. And you know what happens? They put the camera on him, and he'll have that face like, you did my son dirty, brother. Like he have a frown on his face. The fact that they didn't have Rikishi get involved in Jimmy and Jey Uso, that pretty much said to me they don't want family involved with it. So I think that's why they don't have Haku involved with it. Look at Hikuleu, Talatonga. Isn't he the adopted son of Haku? I think he's the adopted son. Listen, I know he's not bloodline, so to speak, but he's still adopted son. And as far as Tamina, it's controversial. It's controversial. First of all, Tamina's not used anymore. She's not used anymore. So even more of a reason. But the thing is, Jimmy Snuka has been accused of murder. At minimum, manslaughter. We will never know what happened that night. My personal thoughts and this happened in 1982. My personal thoughts is, whether people want to hear it or not, he was a cokehead, and she liked the party as well. And I think they were both under the influence and got into an argument. And Jimmy Snuka is a very scary, physically fit, strong man. And I think he probably shoved her or pushed her really, really hard. And she hit her head, and nobody did anything to help her. And she died as a result. It's not that, I don't think that's really far-fetched at all. I mean, I've seen people partying, and, I've tried a few things many, many years ago. And trust me, you just sit there like, oh, dude, you all right? Dude, whoa, dude. Like, I don't picture Snuka saying that and be like, brother. I think that's what happened. Still, a lot of people think he should be removed from the Hall of Fame. A lot of people think he's a murderer. You bring up that lineage, especially you associate it now. People don't want any bloodline member, Fijian or Samoan or anything, being associated, with another member that could be a murderer. That's why. I think that's the main reason why. So that's why I think they don't mention her. Listen, Snuka was one of my favorites growing up. And, we heard what happened in 82. It was in the newspapers. We heard, the reasons why he wasn't used in WrestleMania 1. But keep in mind, that's 1982, 83, 84, 85. That's 3+ years that we pretty much knew. Fans still went nuts for the motherfucker. When CV Afi made his Madison Square Garden debut, I played it. It's the first time WWE ever did a troll job on the fans. It is epic. It is epic because Vince McMahon actually told Howard Finkel to say, from the Fiji Islands, pause. And everybody's like, holy fuck, he's back. Snook is back. And then CV Afi comes out and Howard Finkel goes, Superfly, CV Afi. And if you ever watch the video, I'm not exaggerating at all. It is worth a view. I felt so bad for Sifi Afi. You would have thought he would have smashed his own head with a coconut. That guy comes out and the crowd is going fucking nuts because they still thought Snuka was coming out. And you see Sifi Afi walk into the ringside area and he's looking around and he's smiling from ear to ear. And you could see he's got the look like, holy shit, they all love me. And then when he went into the ring and the fans realized, the fuck was this? And they start chanting, we want Snuka. We want Snuka. And they booed the fuck out of Sifi Afi. That is the first time Vince McMahon trolled the fans. Yeah, we know the screw job with the Spider Lady and everything, but that was more to screw Wendy Richter. But I'm talking about trolling the fans. They made the fans think that Snuka came back that night. And this was several years removed from the incident from 82. CV Afi's got to be what, 87, 88? It's epic. It's on YouTube. If you watch it, post in the comments section that you watched it. It is worth it. I promise you, you will laugh from ear to ear. That pause that Howard Finkel did, and then he said, Superfly, you hear this eruption. And then he says, Sifi, Afi. And the fans were like, you. In fact, some fans at ringside, they were cheering, and then they see it, Sifi, I'm like, fuck is this? It's epic. Fucking love that, man. Epic, epic, epic. In fact, you know what? When I go like this on a replay on YouTube, I'm going to have the link. I'm going to put the link in the comments too. I'm going to put the link in the comments after I finish the show because we're going to wrap this up in about 10 minutes, 5 minutes. We're almost 2.5 hours. So, Hoof-hearted. I don't know if that's hoof or hook. Well, Toongoon. Can I say that? Toongoon 88? My thoughts on the big, beautiful bill. I hope it passes. There's some people online that are really putting a lot of fake shit out there. Oh, they're going to take away rights for this. We're going to take away things for Medicaid. There's a lot of things already been removed. This is not going to hurt, everyday people. The only thing I hope personally is that they increase the salt tax to $40,000. For those that don't know what that is, this affects everybody in the United States. When you do your taxes every year, because I do taxes on the side, I've been doing taxes for 10 years. There is a deduction you could take for state and local tax. Any money you paid for state and local tax, you could deduct up to $10,000 on your federal tax return. In New York, it used to be $100,000. Trump changed it to $10,000 8 years ago, whatever it was. That's fucked up because houses in my neighborhood, property taxes are $14,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000. Businesses near me, their taxes are $20,000, $25,000. So if you owned a small house, and let's say you have another house that you have tenants living in, you pay a good $30,000 in taxes, you could only deduct up to 10. That's not including all the insurance that you spend on a tenant-occupied house, any repairs that you make, any utilities that you pay. So they were looking to increase that deduction to $40,000. The reason why Trump was trying to take it out is because the states that need that $40,000 deduction are New York, Chicago, California, all the states that despise him. I live in New York. I want that deduction increase because it helps my father. It helps a lot of my customers. It helps everyday people. So everything else in there, tax on tips. Some people think that super chats are tips. I don't know the legal definition. I pay taxes on everything. I have to. Everything's automated now. You can't fuck with the IRS. Everything's computerized. If YouTube or Patreon pays me a certain amount of money, they report it to IRS. So IRS has the transaction. We paid Don Tony X amount of dollars. If I don't claim that same amount on my tax return, within 2-3 years, I get a letter in the mail that says, hey, Don Tony, where the fuck's the money from this? We got this report. We didn't see it from you. And you get burned. Trust me, that hasn't happened to a lot of podcasters yet. I'm waiting for it. Remember Adpocalypse? A lot of podcasts and even some wrestling promotions went out of business because YouTube cut out most of the ad revenue. There's going to be a day that you're going to hear some of the wrestling podcasters out there in a lot of legal trouble for not reporting income on their taxes. You wait. I don't want to see it happen, but it's going to happen. I think this bill does pass. I think it absolutely passes. I like what has happened in the last 10 days. A lot of positive stuff. I just want to see our country do well. And I'd like to see peace. I'd like to see everybody, maybe not necessarily getting along. But look, you look your way. You look your way. Leave each other alone. That's just as good. It's like having two bad neighbors. It's like having the McCoys and whatever the other freaks were. You have two bad neighbors that keep breaking each other's windows. You don't want to make peace. You want to fucking break bread with them. All right, well, how's about you look your way? You look your way. You promise not to break each other's windows anymore, and everything is good. That's okay? Good, that's okay. See, I made peace. There's still hatred, but, you know what you got to do? You got to get one of those squeeze toys. You got to get the Iranian terrorists, and you got to get some people to get the squeeze toys. Instead, oh, what a bum, that motherfucker. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Right? They got look, you could even get a squeeze toy of Trump. You have the Iranians. This motherfucker, I made the promise. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. No, I can't bomb. Damn it. Damn it. So peace is not always what peace really is interpreted to be, but hey, just leave each other alone. I don't like you, you don't like me. Block them. Block them. Just block each other. Just pretend the world is Facebook. Just block them on Facebook. Not JPEG says, Tegan Knox is launching an OnlyFans. Good or a bad thing? Oh, it's fine. It's not nudity. Here's a true fact for people that don't know. OnlyFans is trying to shift from the stigma that they have built that they are all nudity and sex. So they are looking to attract actors, musicians, influencers, artists to use OnlyFans similar to Patreon. That's really what it is. People subscribe, and in return, listen, I'm not making fun of Tegan Knox. I have no idea what her page is. But if I could bet what her page is going to be, on the road with Tegan. Look, I'm driving to my next indie show. Let's stop for donuts. Look, here's me with my doggy. Like, I think you're going to see, like, the behind the scenes life of Tegan Knox, maybe some matches that aren't available. I think this perfectly fine. I think that's what that page is going to be. Nothing wrong with it. But she has to understand she's going to this is what's going to happen for sure. Tegan Knox is going to get subscribers, and then within 5 minutes, they're going to withdraw their subscription and demand refunds. And then the reason being is the person is going to say they were promised something that they didn't receive. But in actuality, you'll see fans, if you could hear them talking, man, I thought she was going to show some skin, man. Or, fuck, motherfucker, she's eating donuts. I thought she was going to fucking strip naked. It's OnlyFans, Tegan. What do you think we were going to expect? I have to go both sides. So I got to act like an Italian, and, that's the problem she's going to have. She's going to get subscribers, and they're going to realize quickly, wait a minute. When she was talking about she was going to show her pussy, I didn't know it was meow, 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 meow. Here's my pussy. She's turning 7. I didn't know that. Oh. I can't. No. See, I still can't do it. Nikki, damn it, you bitch. No. I can't. I have to listen back. Sorry. That'll be next week. All right. Let's do like 3 more questions and jet. Mr. Howard, my thoughts on Tony D'Angelo's ceiling on the main roster. Very good in-ring skills. He's got to make his character less cartoonish on the main roster. I don't see Tony D'Angelo making it on the main roster. Listen, the Don, Tony D. Hey, how you doing? Hey, oh, I'm a goal. I mean, if anybody's going to like Tony D'Angelo, it would be me. That prick wouldn't come out my fucking honeymoon, motherfucker. Dick. Waiting in the back. Take a picture. Tony D, the Don and the Don. Oh, he can't right now. He's in a meeting. Fuck you. I'm saying that kidding around. His character won't survive on its own on the main roster. I mean, you'll get some people, hey, how you doing? Hey. And that gets played out like this. I don't know if he survives on the main roster if he goes. They'd have to redo a new faction. And the thing is, he's been there now for several years. How much longer do you turn around and you be like, look, I know we started from scratch, but after 3-4 years, it's longer than that. My honeymoon was 2022. We're in 2025. So it's got to be, what, almost 4 years? I have a feeling they have to redo a faction with him, or you got to cut him loose. He can't be there for 5-10 years building this. He's good. But I even think WWE realizes, you're going to do this on the main roster. Like, Sopranos aren't in anymore. Jersey Shore isn't in anymore. Like, what's out there, as far as Italians go? Like, what? Like, it's just bad timing. It's just, I don't see it. No updates on Adriano Rizzo. And I like Tony D'Angelo. I have no issues with him. But that character on its own would not make it on the main roster. Just like Stax. Stax wouldn't make it alone on the main roster. I have heard rumors of how much Tony D'Angelo's making. And if he's still making similar to what he was making a year and a half ago, I could see why they would keep him, but at some point, the end game is not to keep him in NXT. And even Tony D'Angelo, the end game for him is not to stay in NXT. He wants to go further. But something has to change. Either you have to put him back with a faction, or he's got to change his character even more. I did see MJF on MLW the other night. I thought it was cool. Nothing wrong with that, especially that he was feuding with Mystico a little bit. No issues. It's not a copy of TNA and NXT. It's not a copy of AAA and WWE. It's fine. It's no issues at all. I liked it. It was good. It can't hurt AEW in any way. I thought it was fine. And it's not a step down in MLW. MJF came from MLW. That's his home in some ways. So I don't have any issue. Who do I like more, Tupac or Biggie? I like Biggie Smalls a hell of a lot more than Tupac growing up. I became a fan of Tupac many years later. Like, I revisited some of his music, and I was like, okay, I could see. But Biggie was just different level, especially in my neck of the woods. Biggie had some crossover. So it was always Biggie for me. Right or wrong, not JPEG says he misses Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground was a fun niche, but it was never a promotion that was going to stick around for many years. It was a fun niche. It had some wild moments, just like Wrestling Society X. To me, Wrestling Society X was almost like going to an indie show. Hi. That's kind of the best way I could put it. It's like going to a wrestling show blitzed out of your mind. Like, if that's what you would kind of expect from it. But it was never meant to be a long-term promotion. It was a niche. All right. Who's going to have the final question? Let's make it wrestling related. And we're going to jet. So don't forget, Monday night, I will be live right after Raw, which should be about 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. Eastern, somewhere around that time frame. I have no idea what my thumbnail is going to be for Monday night, so I'll probably do the show early, but we'll probably put it online for everybody later on in the night. I didn't even start figuring out what we're going to talk about yet. Yeah, let's finish with this. This is a good comment. Xander Elian says Kevin Owens was on Cody's podcast and he talked about former WWE wrestlers who overestimated their value in their post-WWE careers. He thought it was censored, but Owens was clearly talking about Ryback. I could see that with Ryback, but I know Kevin Owens probably wouldn't go there. But when I think of that, you know what I think of? I think of Keith Lee. I think of not necessarily Keith Lee, because Keith Lee had medical issues. That's really what's hurt him more than anything. I think of Adam Cole. Think of Kyle O'Reilly. I absolutely think about other wrestlers who look for greener pastures. But I also believe this. You look at some of the wrestlers that left WWE on their choosing. Some people had no choice. You're released. Oh, shit, so I can't quit. Some people chose to leave. Ryback was a moment in time, had a good gimmick. He was at a time where they needed a big man with a little bit of a gimmick, but I'm not trying to criticize him. He's inspirational for some people. He's, got a great, nutritional company that's successful. But if this guy truly wanted to be wrestling the last bunch of years, he'd be working for companies. I think this guy has used wrestling to keep his name relevant. And I don't mean that in a negative way. There are plenty of promotions out there that would have put Ryback on their shows. So if this guy truly wanted to wrestle over the last whatever years it's been since he's released, he could have. But he doesn't. But you take away the wrestling fan base, what does Ryback have? Does he have a political fan base? Does he have just nutritional nuts out there? So he needs to rely on wrestling. So I don't think Ryback overestimated his value because he didn't sign anywhere else for less money. I think some wrestlers left expecting to main event, even in AEW. And then it came to, okay, I'm a cog in the wheel, getting paid decent, I get the game, get to go home 3-4 days a week. I don't have to travel all across the globe all that often. And they're content with that. I think some people overestimated what their worth was outside of the WWE. That doesn't mean they're not happy. See, that's the thing. If you start thinking about who overestimated their value, who is unhappy, like who left and they're kicking themselves in the ass for leaving, not too many names come up. Some people who were released, they had no choice. So I don't think that he was talking just about Ryback. I think he was talking about some names in AEW. And I think some people negotiated with WWE in the past and decided not to take the offer. Not everybody was Stephanie Vaquer. So that's what I think he was going with. So, all right, everybody. Had a real fun night. I want to thank you as always for fun times. Much love. Don't forget, like I said, tomorrow night I'll be live right after Raw, which will be a little bit earlier. But at least we'll get the show done a little bit earlier, and that'll give me time to type up a synopsis later on in the evening. So if you want to join me live, DTKCDiscord.com, DTKCDiscord.com. Right after Raw, I'll be in there. We're going to start immediately after Raw. So as soon as Raw goes off the air, count to 10 and we'll be live. So definitely post your comments, your feedback. Everybody sees it. I see it. I respond to as many as I can. And I want to thank everybody, as always, for your support. Trust me, it is very much appreciated. I love you guys. And I thank you for not overthinking the conversations that we have. There's some people that take this shit way too seriously. They take even wrestling stuff way too seriously. They take even little things that don't go their way too seriously. Just have fun. Just have fun. Enjoy, because you never know when it's taken away, man. And, it's all good. It's all good. There's not always, when things don't go your way, or, it's not always what you think it is. But you know, that's why I think I still enjoy wrestling. I don't take it too seriously. You know, I don't like my time wasted, and I don't like my intelligence insulted, which does happen more often than you think. But I still understand what things are and why things happen as much as I can, and just try to have fun. So be well, everyone. I'll catch you all in the next one. Talk to you soon.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.